All right, so welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're exploring some really kind of intriguing ideas about the law of attraction. You
Yeah.
know, that whole think positive and manifest your dreams
Yeah.
philosophy
Right.
from like the book The Secret. Have you heard
Yeah.
of that one?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Big time.
So we're going to go kind of beyond the surface today
Mm.
and look at some potential downsides and pitfalls,
Okay.
and specifically those that are highlighted in this Chinese text
Hmm.
called Hu M. Sell it quick. Fear and Miller.
Okay.
And it basically translates to like the vibrational frequency of feelings, the law of attraction that transcends the secret.
That's a mouthful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long one. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to dive into that today and kind of see what it has to say.
I'm excited. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating because, I mean, The Secret is all about, like, this positive thinking.
Right.
But this Chinese text kind of cautions against just blindly applying it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Without, like, a good dose of self-awareness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It suggests that, like, manifesting desires without truly understanding the implications can lead to some pretty unexpected and sometimes disastrous results.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it can backfire.
Yeah, yeah. Got to be careful what you wish for, as they say.
Okay, well, let's dive right into a story from the text that really struck me.
Yeah.
It's about this education trainer who seemed to have mastered the law of attraction.
Yeah.
He was using it successfully in all areas of his life, like even teaching it to others.
Mm-hmm.
He had a thriving career, a beautiful partner, a luxurious lifestyle, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, living the dream.
But then, totally out of the blue, he falls head over heels for someone else.
Oh, no.
And his seemingly perfect life, like, totally implodes.
That's a classic tale.
Yeah.
The allure of something new.
Right.
It's insightful how the text uses this story to point out that, like, achieving all those external markers of success
Right.
doesn't guarantee happiness,
Yeah.
We may chase things like wealth, relationships, material possessions, only to realize that they don't bring lasting fulfillment.
Right. So you're saying you can have it all
Yeah.
and still not be happy.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And when those wishes are fulfilled without any conscious awareness of our true needs, and values,
Yeah.
the results can be really unsettling
Right.
and even devastating.
Yeah. That makes me think about those stories you hear about lottery winners
Oh, yeah.
who end up like worse off
Right.
after winning.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
There's this book called The 10 Terrorist Lotteries,
Okay.
where the author actually tracked down, like, all these different lottery winners
Yeah.
and discovered that many of them ended up in some pretty dire situations.
Really?
Yeah, like addiction, bankruptcy,
Bro.
even estrangement from loved ones.
That's so sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this stark illustration of how the sudden fulfillment of material desire without, like, the internal foundation, of self-awareness and healthy coping mechanisms can lead to genuinely tragic consequences.
Like, it's not just about the money. It's about like everything else
Yeah.
that comes with it.
Totally. It's like you need to be ready
Right.
for that kind of change.
Yeah.
It's a whole shift in your reality.
It's almost like that classic story of King Midas,
Oh, yeah, good one.
who wished for everything he touched to turn to gold.
Right.
And in the end, he couldn't even eat or hug his loved ones.
Yeah, everything he touched turned to cold, hard gold.
So sad.
It's a powerful metaphor, though.
Right.
It leads us to another crucial point from the Chinese text.
Okay.
It echoes this sentiment from the Diamond Sutra,
Okay.
which cautions against trying to fill an inner void with external validation.
Yeah.
That pursuit, it could trap us in a never-ending cycle,
Oh, well.
always chasing more, never truly satisfied.
Wow. So you're saying true contentment comes from within,
Yeah.
not from like external achievements or possessions.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's about cultivating a sense of inner peace and fulfillment.
Wow, that's thought-provoking. So it raises a really important question for all of us.
What's that?
Are our desires driven by like genuine needs,
Right.
or are we trying to mask a deeper emptiness?
That's a good question.
Right. Are we chasing things that'll bring us lasting joy,
Yeah.
or are we simply trying to fill a void?
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the chase
Right.
without really examining what's driving us.
Yeah. That's a powerful question to consider. And it seems like this text is urging us to take a step back and really examine our desires before we start like
Right.
putting them out there into the universe.
Yeah. It's not just about getting what we want, right? It's about wanting what truly serves us.
Right. And, like, how do we even know what that is?
Well, the Chinese text actually critiques that accept step
Okay.
in the typical law of attraction process.
Right.
Like accepting the current situation. It argues that blindly accepting unwanted situations just because they seem to align with a superficial desire
Right.
can actually lead to unhappiness and block true fulfillment.
So it's not about just, like, passively resigning to our circumstances.
Exactly. It's about consciously aligning our desires
Mm.
with our deepest values and needs.
Okay, so how do we even begin to figure out what those are?
Right. How do we gain that kind of self-awareness?
Right, it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
The text highlights this challenge through a story about a woman who was trying to get pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, she was doing everything right according to the law of attraction,
Mm.
visualizing a happy family, feeling the joy of motherhood,
Okay.
but it just wasn't happening for her.
Hmm.
And then during like a really heartfelt conversation, she had this realization.
Oh, okay.
What she truly desired was freedom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the demands of parenthood would have actually restricted her in a way that felt totally misaligned with her true
Wow.
self.
So she thought she wanted one thing,
Yeah,
but her, like, subconscious desired something completely different.
exactly. It's wild how our minds work.
Right, so, like, how do we know?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Her story illustrates the potential conflict between our stated goals
Mm-hmm.
and our underlying needs.
Right.
We might think we want one thing,
Yeah,
but deep down, we crave something else entirely.
that's scary.
Yeah, it can be tricky. The text encourages us to ask ourselves some fundamental questions before we set any intentions.
Okay.
Like, what do I truly value?
Mhm.
What brings me genuine joy and fulfillment?
Right.
These are key to making sure that our desires are in sync with our authentic selves.
Oh, okay, so it's all about digging a little deeper,
Yeah,
getting to the core of what we really want,
exactly.
and that can be tough.
Yeah, takes effort.
Yeah. This makes me think about the concept of unintended consequences.
Oh, yeah.
The text shares this chilling story about a woman who desperately wanted $20 million to start a business.
Mm.
And she was visualizing it, putting it out there to the universe.
Right.
But then it hit her.
Oh, no.
The only way she could conceive of receiving that amount of money would be from her parents' accidental death insurance.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, be careful what you wish for.
Right.
And it's like, so that story serves as this powerful reminder that our desires can have unforeseen
Yeah,
and sometimes even devastating consequences.
absolutely.
It just underscores the importance of approaching, manifestation with a sense of responsibility and
Yeah.
awareness.
You got to think things through.
Right. It's definitely a lot to think about. And it makes me wonder
Yeah.
what happens after we achieve those carefully considered aligned goals.
Right.
Are we finally content then?
Mm.
Or does something else take their place?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another critical concept explored in the text. The trap of endless desire. So the trap of endless desire. It's this idea that achieving one goal often just leads to setting a new, bigger one.
Okay.
It's a cycle that can keep us perpetually striving,
Right.
never quite reaching a state of true contentment.
So it's like that saying, the grass is always greener.
Exactly.
We're constantly looking for the next best thing.
Yeah.
Never fully appreciating what we have in the present moment.
Right. Always looking ahead,
Right.
never really being present.
It's interesting because, like, on the one hand, having goals and aspirations can be motivating and, like, drive us forward.
Sure.
But on the other hand, it seems like there's this potential danger in constantly chasing after the next big thing.
Totally.
So how do we find that balance between ambition and contentment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
It's something the text grapples with, too.
Okay.
It's not about rejecting ambition or settling for mediocrity. It's more about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from a place of inner peace and gratitude, not from endlessly chasing these external markers of success.
So it's about finding joy in the journey,
Yeah.
not just the destination.
Exactly.
All right.
And that leads us to another point of contention
Okay.
the Chinese text has with The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
It critiques that emphasis on achieving specific outcomes,
Okay.
like losing weight,
Right.
arguing that this focus can actually reinforce like a negative self-image
Oh.
and distract us from appreciating our unique beauty and worth.
That reminds me of that passage from The Prophet of Dream Marketing
Oh,
with
yeah.
the text quotes. It questions the whole concept of, like, typical beauty
Right.
and highlights how the fashion industry, with its airbrushed models and unattainable standards, like,
Right.
distorts our perception of what's truly beautiful and desirable.
Yeah, it sets up these unrealistic expectations
Right.
that are hard to live up to.
And it's interesting how the text connects this idea of embracing, like, individual beauty
Yeah.
to its critique of competition.
Yeah.
It argues that competition often stems from a scarcity mindset,
Right.
this belief that there's not enough to go around.
It's like a dog-eat-dog world mentality.
Right.
Everyone's fighting for a piece of the pie.
So instead of collaborating and supporting each other,
Yeah.
we end up in this constant struggle for dominance and supremacy.
That's the danger, yeah.
Wow.
It's like everyone is crowding into the same spot, desperately trying to grab the same resources,
Right.
while completely overlooking this vast, untapped potential
Okay.
that exists if they just shifted their perspective.
So it's almost like we're all standing on a beach looking for the same rare seashell,
Yeah, I like that.
completely ignoring the unique and beautiful shells right at our feet.
Exactly.
Right.
It's about recognizing the abundance all around us.
And the text encourages us to step out of that competitive mindset, embrace the idea that there's enough for everyone.
Right.
Instead of comparing ourselves to others and trying to fit into a predefined box,
Totally.
we should be discovering and cultivating our own unique talents and passions.
It's about finding your own path.
Right. It's about celebrating what makes us unique and finding fulfillment in being our authentic selves.
Absolutely.
Not in outdoing or outshining others.
Right. It's not a zero-sum game.
So instead of asking, how can I be better than everyone else? We should be asking, what unique gifts and talents do I have to offer the world?
Now you're getting it.
Right.
That's the shift in perspective we need.
Okay.
And the Chinese text suggests that this shift can lead to a much more fulfilling and meaningful life, both for ourselves and for the world around us.
This has been a really insightful conversation.
Yeah, me too.
And it's certainly challenged some of my own assumptions about the law of attraction.
It's always good to question our beliefs.
Right.
It's clear that there's a lot more to it than just thinking positive thoughts
Right.
and hoping for the best.
So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that the law of attraction is a tool, not a magic wand.
Right.
It can be a powerful tool for personal growth and transformation, but it's not a guarantee of happiness or success.
Right.
It's essential to approach it with a sense of responsibility, awareness, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
So it's not like a quick fix.
No, definitely not.
It's about understanding ourselves, our motivations, and what truly brings us lasting joy and fulfillment.
You got it.
Okay.
That's the core message here.
And sometimes that requires us to challenge our assumptions.
Totally.
Like dig deep into our subconscious desires.
Yeah.
And even question the societal norms and expectations.
Right. Those things that we've internalized over time.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Absolutely.
And there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Nope. It's unique to each individual.
Okay.
But by taking the time to understand ourselves and our desires, we can harness the power of the law of attraction in a way that truly serves our highest good.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me.
Me too. It's fascinating stuff.
And I hope it's been just as insightful for our listeners.
I hope so. There's a lot to unpack here.
Okay, so let's recap some of the key takeaways.
That's good.
From our deep dive into the potential pitfalls of the law of attraction,
Okay.
we've learned that achieving external markers of success doesn't guarantee happiness.
Right. It's about more than just the material things.
We've also explored the importance of understanding our true desires and aligning them with our values and needs.
It's about getting to the core of who you are.
We've discussed the trap of endless desire and the importance of finding contentment in the present moment.
Being present is key.
And we've highlighted the dangers of blindly accepting societal norms.
Right.
And the need to embrace our unique beauty and fulfillment.
Celebrating our individuality.
Okay, I think it's safe to say that the law of attraction is a powerful tool, but it's one that should be used with caution and awareness.
Absolutely. It's not something to be taken lightly.
It's not a shortcut to happiness,
No.
but rather a path of self-discovery and personal growth.
It's a journey, not a destination.
The Chinese text leaves us with a thought-provoking question.
Okay, what's that?
Before setting your next big goal, ask yourself, what void are you trying to fill?
That's a good one.
It's deep.
It is. It makes you really think.
It encourages us to dig deeper than surface-level desires
Hmm.
and examine the underlying motivations behind our goals.
Why do we want what we want?
Right.
It's a question worth pondering.
It's a powerful question to ponder
Yeah.
as we continue our exploration of the law of attraction and its impact on our lives. Yeah, it really makes you think about, like, what void am I trying to fill?
Right.
It's such a simple question, but it just goes so deep.
It really does.
And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from this whole deep dive.
Hmm.
The law of attraction, it isn't about manipulating the universe to give us whatever we want whenever we want it.
No.
It's more about aligning ourselves with our truest selves
Yeah.
and creating a life that reflects our deepest values and aspirations.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
Right. And recognizing that we already possess everything we need within us to create a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And that's a really empowering message.
It is. It's about taking ownership of our own happiness.
Okay, so instead of looking outside ourselves
Yeah.
for validation or fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
we need to turn inward and cultivate a sense of self-love and acceptance.
Exactly. It all starts from within.
You know what really stood out to me throughout this whole deep dive
What's that?
was this idea of unintended consequences.
Oh, yeah.
We can have the best intentions in the world,
Right.
but if we're not careful, our desires can manifest in ways that we never anticipated, and sometimes even in ways that cause harm.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect. You throw a pebble in the pond, you never know how far those waves are going to go.
The story about the woman wishing for the insurance money,
Right.
it's like a perfect example of that.
It is. It shows how our thoughts and desires can have real-world consequences.
Yeah, and it highlights the importance of approaching manifestation with a sense of responsibility.
Absolutely.
And considering the potential ripple effects of our desires.
You have to think about the bigger picture.
Right. It's almost like a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Reminding us that the universe doesn't always work in the ways that we expect. And that sometimes getting what we want can come at a cost.
It's not always a fairy tale ending.
Right.
Sometimes there are trade-offs.
Right. And it underscores the importance of being mindful of our motivations.
Yeah.
And making sure that our desires are aligned with our highest good.
Right.
And the good of those around us.
It's about finding that balance.
Right.
Between what we want and what's truly best for everyone involved.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah, we've really gone deep.
We've explored the potential pitfalls of the law of attraction, challenged some common assumptions.
It's always good to question what we think we know.
Right. And hopefully spark some deep reflection for our listeners.
I hope they're thinking about all of this.
Right.
It's important stuff.
Before we wrap up, I want to share a quote from the Chinese text
Okay, I'm listening.
that I found particularly thought-provoking.
Okay.
It says, "The true path to happiness lies not in chasing fleeting desires, but in cultivating lasting joy."
Beautiful.
And it just encapsulates the essence of what we've been exploring today.
It does. It's about finding that inner peace.
Shifting our focus from external validation to internal fulfillment.
Yeah.
From chasing after what we think will make us happy to cultivating a deep sense of contentment and gratitude for what we already have.
It's about appreciating the present moment.
And it's about recognizing that true happiness is an inside job.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right.
It's not something we find, it's something we create.
So as we conclude this deep dive, we invite you to reflect on your own desires and motivations.
Yeah, take some time to really think about it.
Ask yourself what void you're trying to fill and whether your goals are truly aligned with your values and purpose.
And remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
Right. There's always more to learn and explore about ourselves and the world around us.
Keep learning, keep growing.
Embrace the journey.
Yeah.
Stay curious and keep diving deep.
That was all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the exploration, and we look forward to diving into another fascinating topic with you soon.